Hello students, this is Professor Bloom and this is our Chapter 3 lecture part 2. Before I get into the lecture, the second half of the access code that you need for the lecture quiz is the word ball, B-A-L-L. Combine that with the first word that you learned of in the part 1 of the lecture and you have your access code. Continuing on with our Chapter 2 lecture, practice and training experiences can play an important role not only in developing sport proficiency and rehabilitating injured body parts, but also in increasing a person's physical fitness. A physically fit person is someone who can perform the essential activities of daily living at a high level, has sufficient energy remaining to pursue an active leisure life, and can meet unexpected physical demands that emergencies may impose. This type of physical fitness is called motor performance fitness, which is the ability to perform daily activities with vigor. This type of performance depends on fitness components such as strength and endurance, flexibility, balance, agility, and coordination. A second type of physical fitness is health-related fitness, which is using physical activity experiences to develop the traits and the capacities of a healthy body. So our job as kinesiologists is to determine what physical activity experience will lead to improvement, and then to design practice experiences that improve those skills, or design experiences that provide the necessary training needs. To be successful at this, kinesiologists must understand critical components required of the sport or the activity and whether it utilizes closed or open skills. Additionally, we can consult research and ask experts. Skills can be located on an open-closed continuum. In closed skills, performers must adapt their movements to fixed and highly predictable environments. In open skills, performers must adapt to changing and highly unpredictable environments. As physical activity professionals, we must design practice experiences in such a way that we maximize learning using closed skills and/or open skills as appropriate. When we look at elite athletes, some people say they were born great. Others say they became great through hard work. And what we've discovered is that it's a bit of both. Abilities are genetic predispositions that can offer advantages or disadvantages for particular activities. Abilities offer potential in specific activities, but potential alone is usually insufficient for high levels of skill or performance. It takes abilities plus practice plus the right training experiences to equal the highest level of competence that you're able to achieve in a particular activity. Research about genetic contributions to athletic performance remains at its infancy. Limits of learning and conditioning are determined by both physical activity experiences and inherited abilities. Well, we can control only experience. Therefore, the best strategy for achieving excellence is to seek the best physical activity experiences. Think about your own activity experiences and their influence on your capacity to perform particular skills or achieve certain levels of fitness. Which factors have the greatest impact on the achievement of your performance and fitness goals? Now we are going to look at subjective experience of physical activity. This refers to how we feel, think, and react to physical activity rather than the actual performance of physical activity itself. Unobservable emotions are at least as important as physical experience of our favorite physical activities. The things that are derived from physical activity are emotions, cognitions, dispositions, knowledge, and meanings. The feelings we have when we move our bodies differ from the feelings we have when we're sitting or lying motionless. Subjective experiences in physical activity are often overlooked. Listen to your body. What most athletes don't know, but philosophical athletes do know, is just how much can be learned from listening to their bodies. Listen closely enough to your body, and you might discover a window to your soul. Physical activity is best when it's personally meaningful. Subjective experiences are important to kinesiology professionals because physical activity supplies us with unique forms of subjective experience that are not available in other daily activities. They help clarify the basis of career choices. Perhaps we will choose a particular career field because of our personal subjective experiences and the desire to share those with others and have them experience them as well. They help develop our skills to be more effective as physical activity professionals, and our subjective experiences determine whether we will make that activity part of our lives. Subjective experiences can be intense and immediate, or they can involve past experiences that you relive repeatedly. Self-reflection involves replaying the experience in your mind, including visual, kinesthetic, auditory, and other impressions. The potential for putting experiences into context makes subjective experiences meaningful. The components of subjective experience include sensations and perceptions, emotions and emotional responses, and knowledge, such as rational knowledge, intuitive knowledge, psychoanalytic self-knowledge, mystical knowledge, and Socratic self-knowledge. The best way to understand subjective experiences is to talk about them. Although that is not always easy, it's important because it helps us to better understand the meanings that we find in physical activity. To better understand why we enjoy certain physical activities, it's important to consider the factors related to the activity, the factors related to the performer, and the factors related to the social context. Perhaps your enjoyment comes from the specific quality of the activity itself. That might be because there's a balance between the challenge and your ability, there are clear goals and feedback, or there's competition. Our enjoyment of physical activity is also influenced by factors that lie within us, our dispositions and our attitudes. Our enjoyment of physical activity can also be affected by the social context in which the activity occurs. Are we alone or with others? What's the environment like? Do we have a sense of perceived freedom? Sport and exercise participation is it's all about you. Physical activities are never performed in a vacuum. The social context and the immediate environment can affect our sense of enjoyment. An example of this is when we find an activity less than enjoyable because we feel forced to engage in it rather than freely choosing it. Think about what physical activities do you most enjoy? Why do you enjoy them? What insights have you gained by answering those questions now after having read this chapter and listened to this lecture? We also experience physical activity subjectively by watching sports. We could watch sports vicariously or in a disinterested fashion. Our subjective experience while watching sports is impacted by our knowledge of the game, our feelings towards the competition, and the drama of the competition. And that concludes our Chapter 3 lecture.